What's up, everybody? Welcome.
The worst possible thing you could say when you walk into a car dealership. I spent 5 years with Mercedes-Benz, 5 with General Motors, and the worst thing a person could say when they walk in is, if you could just get me to this payment, we got a deal.
So your loan's probably still like 19, which means you got to pay to get out. You're upside down. It's called negative equity.
Welcome to episode 24 of Car Shopping Questions and Answers. I am your host, publicly known as Deshone the Auto Advisor. It is great to see everybody. We are doing this stream right now at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And these shows exist for you to learn insider strategies that no one is talking about but us. In reference to getting below market car deals. And below market car deals save people. We pay thousands less than everyone else. And that's the key. All right. I'm not here to talk about hundreds of dollars. I'm not interested in talking about hundreds of dollars on a Wednesday afternoon or Wednesday morning. I'm interested in only talking about thousands of dollars. And for those of you who are committed to your money, this is going to be one of your favorite places when it comes to cars. So we'll get the housekeeping out the way. We're live on on four platforms: TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And I have my man Dolan in the background moderating for us. So as you guys type your questions, you want to type your questions and we'll bring them onto the show. We'll try to answer as many questions as possible. And then at the same time, we'll start, we have some links for you because my new digital book is out. It's called Cars from Home, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. And during this show for the next 30 minutes, you can actually get your copy for 75% off the normal price. That the book is normally $97. It's worth every penny, but we do like to make a special welcome offer as part of our book launch. So you can get your copy for $24 if you go to my TikTok bio or my Instagram bio before the 30-minute countdown runs out. And for those of you who are watching us on Facebook or YouTube, we have a link in the comments section for you or right here on the screen. You can go to deshonsbook.com to get your 75% off. And I want you to use these strategies. And then when you get your vehicle, I want you to do just like Tiffany did. And I want you to send me your deal to my email so I can bring it onto the show. Tiffany used the book. She got a Mazda CX-90, $44,820 vehicle. She got a $6,530.78 discount off that vehicle, which is probably about 15% off. And she did it while she was in the comfort of her home. She didn't do it going back and forth with dealers and trying to twist their arm and get them to do stuff. She sat at home. She got people to bid for her business. And she never spent more than 30 minutes in a car dealership. And that's what I want for everybody who wants those results. So as your questions come in, my man Dolan will bring them in. I see a lot of people here on TikTok. You guys can start typing your questions. We are live. So whenever you guys don't see the banner above me, that means we're live. So you can start typing your questions and we'll bring them in as Dolan gets the first one. What's up, Instagram? I see you. Okay. Jay Gons, YouTube. My family member has a lease that is about to end in 3 months and he doesn't want to continue to get another lease. What's the process on the lease ends? Well, if we're not getting another lease, then we're just going to make sure there's no equity in the lease. Who's returned a lease in the last ever in their lifetime? If you returned a lease in your lifetime, type me. If you've returned a lease, just dropped it off at the dealership, type me. anybody who's returned a lease, just like Jay Gons is asking, lease in process. Okay, so there's several of you. If you've returned your lease and you didn't do an equity assessment, you could have possibly left thousands on the table. Now, if you returned a lease in 2021, 2022, or 2023, then most likely you did leave thousands on the table if you didn't do an equity assessment. The equity assessment is when we see what we can purchase the vehicle for, be it a buyout, a dealer buyout, customer buyout, and then we see what the market value is on the vehicle. So some people, all through the pandemic, we were helping people sell their leases and put 5, 10, 12 grand in their pocket. And that's no exaggeration. I personally sold my Jeep Grand Cherokee lease after I drove it for 3 years. It was a 39-month lease. I extended it for a couple months, and then I sold it. I was 6,000 miles over, and I sold it and made $8,900. Some of you saw that video I posted on TikTok when I picked up my check. My mother drove her Mazda CX-9, CX-5 for 3 months. I'm sorry, for 3 years, and she sold it at the end, made $10,200. I made $8,900. She made $10,200. But we have people all around the country who you can look on the comments on my videos. We've helped them make 5, 6, 8, 10 grand or more. Now, the days of those high resale values are gone because that was a once in a lifetime seller's market where everyone's cars were worth 7 to 10 grand more than they would be worth in a normal market. But we certainly did win. But in these particular markets, we still have people who are making 3 grand, 4 grand. And so there's no guarantee you have equity in your vehicle. So I don't want to give you that illusion or give you that idea. But if you return a vehicle without doing an equity assessment, then you have no idea how much you could be giving the dealership that's going to buy your car and then resell it. And we don't give back equity at all before we do an equity assessment check. So Jay Gons, that would be the process. They would call their bank, get a payoff, and then they would find out what the market value is for their car through cash offers, not through algorithm sites. Cash offers from CarMax, Driveway, Kelly's Blue Book Instant Cash Offer, AutoNation, Carvana, AutoNation Sell My Car, Car Guru Sell My Car. We get at least 6 bids, and that's what we do. Okay, so if she has equity, then she needs to get that equity. If she doesn't, then return the vehicle and move on to the next one. All right. Go ahead, Dolan. Shoot the next question up, brother. What's up, Gavin Scott? I see you, Dennis McKinley. What's going on, T-Bones? I see you. Thanks for liking the video. Shout out to the new followers. Welcome. Ball for Christ says, I recently financed a 2018 68,000 miles Mercedes-Benz $42,000 car, 72 months, 13% interest. My credit is very good, but I have a thin credit file. Did I get burned? First car purchase, by the way, and love the car. Well, good that you love the car, because if you love the car, the loan could always be corrected. The loan could be corrected through refinancing. You can't correct the car, though. So it's good that you love the car. It's good that hopefully, God willing, you have plans to keep this car for at least 8 years, because if you don't, then you should have leased. You should have been shopping for an aggressive lease, because on a $42,000 vehicle, 72 months, 13% interest rate, your payment's probably somewhere around $800 a month, maybe $700. But it's in there, $700-800 a month. So the only way to make that kind of payment make sense is for you to eventually pay that car off, keep the vehicle a long time, and win with long-term ownership, 8+ years. So hopefully, God willing, that's your plan. Now, in the case of, and I don't know if it was $42,000 brand new, or if that's what you paid for it. I'm assuming that's what you paid for it. Now, in the case of, did you get burned? We don't know, because I don't know what I don't, like when I buy a used car, I'm interested in the true value percentage, which is what anyone should be interested in. True value percentage is something we made up. And what it is because everyone was talking about, when you go on these marketplaces like cars.com or Auto Trader or Car Gurus that we used to shop, you know, they give you an idea of what a good deal is, a fair deal, a bad deal. But those hold on one second. Let me put my phone on do not disturb. Those don't mean anything, and I'm going to tell you why. Because a marketplace's job is to sell vehicles for the people who pay them. These are the dealerships. These are the people who keep these marketplaces in business. So when they say good deal, what they're basing it on is some algorithm that tells them maybe what the average price is of a car. Now, the average price of a car on their site doesn't mean that that's an average. That doesn't mean anything, because through the pandemic, we had people that were buying cars close to what they were originally priced at. So, for example, you had people who were paying $30,000 for used Toyota Camrys that were $32,000 brand new. I want you to think about that. $32,000 brand new, $30,000 they're paying for it, and they don't know that this is a horrible price because they're only getting $2,000 off the original price. See, the key with understanding the prices when it comes to used cars is how much discount am I getting off the new price when it was new. And that's what I talk about in my book. I call this the true value percentage. So the true value percentage, now there's other things we need to take into account to get a good deal on a used car, but the true value percentage is certainly the most important when it comes to, did I overpay for the car or did I get a good deal? When I was shopping for my Infiniti, I had 4 vehicles I had narrowed it down to. They were all white. They were all within same year, 2020 at the time. They were all within $2,000 of each other. And frankly, that would have been a hard decision for most of you. You would have probably just picked whichever one made sense or whichever one maybe had the lowest miles. But once I found the original MSRP of the vehicles, I found one was 46, one was 48, one was 52, one was 54. And the one I ended up getting was the one that was originally 54 because that had the largest discount from the original price. So I can't see what your deal was to know if you got burned. I'm hoping that you didn't. But what I can tell you is no matter what, time can heal all wounds. So as long as you're not trying to quickly flip out of this car in 2 or 3 or 5 years, if you can keep it long term, 8+ years, now you can refinance that loan because you do have great credit. You can, as your credit gets better, you should be shopping now for the best refinancing to try to drop that 13% interest. And then, you know, you'll be fine. You know, you can overpay by $5,000 and you keep the car for 8, 9, 10 years. That $5,000 is not as heavy of a hit. You overpay by $5,000 and you keep the car for 5 years, then you're gonna feel that. You're gonna feel that. In which case, like I said at the beginning of this answer, you shouldn't have purchased. You should have been shopping for a great lease deal. Okay, so great question. Go ahead, Dolan, shoot the next one in. Welcome everybody. Whenever you don't see the banner above me, that means we're live. This is our 3 p.m. live, so you guys can type your questions. We'll try to get through as many as we can. Everything I'm teaching is out of my new book. It's called Cars from Home: 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. While you're on this broadcast, you can go to my TikTok bio. You won't leave the broadcast. You'll still be able to hear us, and you can get your copy for 75% off. It's normally $97. You can get yours for $24, and you can have everything I teach in a step-by-step fashion. That's the way the book is. Step 1 starts you. Step 7 is delivery. You shouldn't be at step 7 in my book when I'm talking about delivery, congratulating you on your new car if you haven't gotten there yet. So the book is not meant to be a Bible that you read or an encyclopedia. It's a step-by-step blueprint. Okay, so for those of you on Facebook or Instagram, we on YouTube, we have your link in the comments for you to get your copy for 75% off. Latasha from Instagram: is it worth trading in my 20-year-old Toyota Corolla at a dealership or try to sell it privately? Great question. This is a very common thing. I'm sure there's a lot of people who kept their vehicles long term and they want to know, you know, should I even go and bother trading it and getting $100 or $300 for it? I wouldn't, because that vehicle's value is not going to be to a dealership. The most value is going to be to somebody who's going to pick it up and drive it for a little bit, and that's going to be a private sale. Now, some people don't want to go through what it takes to sell a car privately, and that's okay too. You list it on Facebook Marketplace. As long as you're not asking too much money, the car should sell fast. Typically, the cars that sell slow on Facebook Marketplace, especially in this market, are cars that are overpriced. So if you price that car for a person to come pick it up and you just want to get more than your $100 you're going to get, because a 20-year-old Toyota Corolla, it's probably going to get you $100. They may show you more on the buyer's order, but we don't trade in cars. So I mean, I'm not a fan of trading in cars, because when do you get the most money trading something? When do you get the most money trading something? That's a question. See, when y'all come on this stream, I want you to stay close to your keyboard so that you could actually dialogue, so that you could participate in the stream. You always learn better with action than you do sitting back passively. So you never get the most money trading something in. You get the most money by selling it and getting multiple offers on it. Exactly, a Cameron, never. So it's up to you though, because there is additional things you have to go through. But if it takes you a total of 3 hours, 4 hours to sell your vehicle, and you make $1,000 versus $100, then you made $900 in 4 hours. You know what I'm saying? That's $225 an hour. So but it's up to you. It's truly up to you. But a car like that shouldn't take long to sell, as long as you don't price it too high. I would sell it privately, because I don't like giving people my money. So that's it. Good question though. Let's go, Dolan. Shoot the next one in. What's up, James Picola? I see you. Azola, what's going on? Douglas Tinsley, I see you. Philadelphia Husky on TikTok. Can I lease a used vehicle? Great question. So when I was at Lexus, I did work for Lexus for a few months before I went back to Mercedes. And I noticed they were doing a used vehicle leasing program, but it wasn't advertised. Every now and then you see a used vehicle and they will put a sign on it about, a lease program. The reason I don't like first of all, it's not a mainstream thing. BMW has tried used car leasing. It's not a mainstream thing. And when it's not a mainstream thing, you can't compare these offers. See, we went with comparison shopping. When you see somebody like Taupe is driving her BMW, and she got a $54,000 BMW i4. She's paying $690 a month. She leased that for $690 a month. That's a 1.2% lease, 1.26. So some of you may not be familiar with the 1% lease rule, which savvy leasers have known about for many, many decades. The 1% lease rule, where if your payment was less than 1% of the vehicle's price, you stole a vehicle. In her case, her payment is 1.26%, which we consider a good value lease. She's paying pennies on the dollar compared to someone who bought this same vehicle. But she gets this by getting bids and comparison shopping. That's how you avoid buyer's remorse. We want to not just pay below market prices. We want to make sure that we never have buyer's remorse. And buyer's remorse is that just a hint of questioning your deal. A hint of questioning your deal. Could I gotten better? Usually if you wonder that, you could have. And unfortunately, without multiple offers, in my book, I have something called the 25 to 5 strategy. We're connecting with 25 dealers online, and we're going to get 5 offers. And that's how we know, because 80% of dealers are overpriced. So 80% of the dealers in this country, and there's 17,000 new car dealers, there's close to 100,000 pre-owned car dealers, I believe. So when we look at the sheer amount of dealers, 80% are overpriced. And some of you know about the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. It comes into this too. So and I might be like dispelling a lot of things you believe, false beliefs, just in what I just said, because some people believe all dealers are the same price. So I'm peeling back a lot in just that one statement. Every dealer is a different price, and 80% of them are overpriced, which means if you don't get at least 5 offers, you have no shot at guaranteeing a below market deal. So that's the reason why I'm not a big fan on used vehicle leasing, because it's not a mainstream program. So you have nothing to compare it to assess if it's a good value. And before I ever looked at a used vehicle lease, I would always make sure I'm shopping a new vehicle lease and getting a below market deal on that, because sometimes it will surprise you what a vehicle will lease for. Zafrina leased her Jeep Grand Cherokee. It was a $65,000 vehicle, 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee. She got it for $579 a month with just first payment due at signing. A $65,000, almost $70,000 car. By the time her taxes and everything go in, that's a $70,000 transaction, and she's driving that vehicle for $579 a month. So you never know what the bottom is going to be on a vehicle until you get bids. So I'm never pursuing a used vehicle lease until it becomes a mainstream thing, and maybe it will one day. Great question. Go ahead, Dolan. And everybody that you see me sharing, they use my stuff. So these are not random people. I created a shopping strategy. The Cars from Home shopping strategy is my creation. It's my baby. It's my contribution to the world. And everyone willing to use it is going to save money. It's just no question about it. Using your strategy in the book, how long should it take to purchase a used car or range of time? Great question. The book is meant to get you to a car in as quick as 48 to 72 hours, because there are emergency situations. And I never wanted to create a book that wouldn't be good for people who had a vehicle totaled, had a vehicle stolen, just had a time crunch. Maybe they didn't find me, they didn't know about me. Somebody shared the page with them and they're like, okay, Deshone, man, I've been shopping for a car, but now I only got 5 days left. We've had tons of people who come in, use these strategies because it only takes, we're at home. So when we're not in a dealer battling, we're at home making dealers battle for us. So once you know the steps, you can get deals in literally 48, 72 hours. And, some of you have seen me share several people who didn't have a lot of time. You can see Danielle, when she got her Audi, she said, due to circumstances out of my control, I had to lease something quickly. So she said, I did all my emailing back and forth last week, finalized the deal on Sunday, was able to pick it up today. So she got her Audi, $550 a month, $44,000 Audi in a matter of days. Now, there are benefits to having time. I like to have at least 3 months, 6 months even, because what that allows me to do is watch the market. So we see, unfortunately, you've been programmed to wait until the last minute with a car, but you never do that with a house. Does that make sense? Type $ if that makes sense. See, anything that you would never do with something else, especially other expensive items, that means you're in a habit of doing it. That means you're in a habit of doing it. So we wait till the last minute with a car. We wait till we have a week. We need a car. Oh, I'm going to get a car this weekend. I'm going to get a car this month. But we never say I'm going to buy a house this month. We say I'm starting the process of house shopping, but we never say, I need the house by this. If I don't get the house by next Saturday, then we're done. See, because these are very expensive items. But again, those who make money on you would love for you to stay in that programming. That programming is what drives the auto industry and what continues to foster billions and billions of dollars in profits. So when you say, all right, you know what, Deshone, I got 3-4 months. In my book, I have something called the no later than date and the as soon as date. As soon as date is the soonest you can make a deal. You shouldn't be looking at offers and you can't make a deal. It's just a waste of time. It's a waste of the person presenting you the offers time. It's a waste of your time. So the as soon as date is the soonest you can accept the deal. Every time y'all hear something on TikTok y'all like, if y'all could tap the screen and keep running those likes up, we appreciate you. So as soon as date is the soonest you can make a deal. Your no later than date, now that's your deadline. So if I got a car total, God forbid, I get a rental car. Now I turn around, I need that car. I need to get my car before the rental expires. I might only have 30 days. So my as soon as date could be today. My no later than date could be a month from now. But the time in between that is my leverage, and that's the time I have to shop. And and what I teach you to do is use that time wisely. That time should be used to connect with dealers, because most people rather, who's going in and talking to those dealers in person is going in there with desperate energy. Oh, I need a car now. I need a car now. Meanwhile, we're sitting at home, a confident, actual buyer giving the dealer everything they need to give us an offer, but we're not desperate because we have the luxury of time. So when we contact those dealers, one of the things we're letting them do, and I have a template in my book, when we reach out to dealers, you're using my templates. If you're using my book, these are copy and paste things. So now what you're doing is you're telling the dealer what you want, when your deadline is. And so now once you find out which dealers, and we connect with 25 dealers because we don't shop from one dealer, 25 to get 5 offers. And now what we're doing is we're letting them know we have up until this time before we need to make a deal. So now they might look and say, well, great, I'm gonna deal with all these desperate people right now, but I know that Anthony David, this guy has time. He got until next month. So I'm gonna check later at the end of the day and see if I got a car that might do something for him. And then they'll write us back and say, hey, Anthony, I see you got until next month. I got this car coming, it'll be here in like 6 weeks. Would this one work for you? See, then they can't make those offers to the desperate people who tell them, oh, I want a car this weekend. They got to try to sell those people right then and there. But we're sitting back with the luxury of time. Programs change every month. Used car trends change every month. When you have time and you're looking at a limited production model, you might want to order the vehicle. You can't do any of this stuff waiting until the last minute. So although my system is made for emergencies, I don't want every single time you car shop to be an emergency because you waited to the last minute. So quickest 48, 72 hours, you can use the strategies in the book to get below market deals. But for those of you who are like, Deshone, I got 2 months, 30 days, 6 months. Is it too early for me to start? Absolutely not. You have the luxury of time, and you have the luxury of being able to watch the market once you learn how I teach you to watch the market. All right? That's a great question, though. Go ahead, Dola, shoot the next one up. What's up, Rashad Bask? Keith Miller, what's going on? Welcome to our 3 p.m. live. You can type your car shopping questions. If this is your first time here, type a number 1. Anybody who your first time on the stream with us, type a number 1. We want to give you a shout out. First timers. Go ahead, Dolan. You can shoot the next question up, brother. Nenato from TikTok. You saved me $4,000 when I bought my car. Thank you. I negotiated away the add-ons. God bless you. You saved yourself $4,000. See, I appreciate being on the journey with you. I don't take that for granted. But here's the thing, you're an action taker. In a world where people want stuff done for them, you went and you got it. And I appreciate that. See, I can't help anyone who's not willing to take action. I can't help anyone. We got the best system in the world. I put my system up against any car shopping system in the world. Hands down. I got 14 years experience inside dealers, luxury cars. I've sold exotic cars. My highest price car I ever sold was $435,000. So I don't care if you want a Rolls Royce, a G-Wagon, a Bentley. This system works for everything, but it only works for those willing to take action. So God bless you. I'm glad you deserve it. Enjoy your car. I like you I like when people get a car and they're just as excited about the deal they got. You know what I'm saying? So many people, oh, you know what? Your boy had to upgrade. They post in their cars. They never post the prices, though. They never post the prices because secretly, and some of you may be in the same position. That's why I want to get you out of that. You're ashamed of the prices. You're not confident in the prices. You don't want to send me your buyer's order and have me read it on the show because you're ashamed. I want you out of that. I want you so excited about the deal you're getting because you saw so many offers that you're like, Deshone, look at this deal I got, to the point where I got to ask you, oh, what kind of car is it? Oh man, I forgot to tell you about the car. Yeah, it's a Honda Pilot. You want to be just as excited about the deal you're getting as the car. All right, go ahead, Dolan. Okay, T-Bone from TikTok. Do you recommend financing through your bank? It's a great question. So in my book, I have something I call the bank bidding war. Everything we get, everything we purchase, every bit of business we do is always going to be through a bid, because we've been trained to give dealers 3 transactions. That's your who you buy your car from, that's a transaction. Who you give your old car to, you may call that trading. It's considered trading. We don't trade, we sell. That's another transaction. And then who you're getting your loan from is a third transaction. So when you walk into a dealer with your old car and you leave with a new car and a loan on it, you got it from the dealer, all of that, you just did 3 transactions. So think about it. If you didn't know you were just doing 3 transactions, what's the chances that you really got great deals in all 3? Because the reason why we separate all 3 is to make sure we're bidding out all 3. We must bid out all 3 because you can get a great price on the car and get an get a high loan, above market loan, or you can get a great price on a car and get less than you could have for your old car. So the only way to guarantee a below market deal is to make sure that each part of the transaction is being bid out. So in the bank bidding war, what we do is 3 rounds to it. First round, we're going to make sure there's no special interest rates on the car we're looking at. So if I'm looking at a 2024 Genesis GV80, I want to see, are there any special interest rates on this vehicle? Any 0%, any 1.99%, 2.99%. If we find a special interest rate on that vehicle, that could eliminate us even needing to shop for any other bank. Because a lot of those are tier 1 approvals, meaning if you have good credit, you can qualify for it. You know, you don't even have to have, you can have high fair credit, 670, you had a good profile, you can qualify for most tier 1 approvals. You don't need to be a super tier or A1 credit. So that's the first round. That's before we even start shopping for our car. That's in the early stage. We haven't talked to dealers yet. I just know, hey, I'm interested in the GV80. Let me see if there's any special interest rate. Oh, I see they got this. Now, if they don't, that's round 1. Round 1 is done. Now what we're doing is we're going to shop for our vehicle. We're going to shop for our offers. And we're going to find a dealer that's going to sell us that vehicle for the lowest price. Now, once we get our bids and we find a dealer that's going to sell us the vehicle for the lowest price, now it's time to take this across the finish line and start round 2 of the bank bidding wars. 3 rounds. Round 2, we come home, and now we're going to have our bank, our credit union, online banks, and all lenders bid and give us offers. And then whoever gets the best offer out of that round 2, we're going to give the dealer an opportunity to beat it. See, some of you have heard, oh, don't let the dealer at all participate at all. I don't believe in that. I never taught that. I've always taught everyone's competing. The dealer has 7 or 10 or 12 banks. They want to compete. But what many of you have not known is how can we make all of these people compete without damaging our credit? And as long as you're doing this within a 48-hour period, like I'm teaching you to do it, like my book teaches you, you're going to have the same effect on your credit as one hard inquiry. So although you will see all the inquiries, the effects on your score will be the same as one. This is called proper rate shopping. And if you want to read more about this, you can Google Experian, which is one of the 3 credit bureaus, rate shopping. And they have an article that they wrote about the rate window, which is 14 to 45 days, where they allow you to have multiple people compete. But it must be done in a certain way. So that's how we do it. Because by the time we drive off with our car and our loan, we guarantee we couldn't have gotten a better loan because we had 10, 15, even 20 lenders competing. And that's the only way we do business. All right, great question. All of this is in my book. For those of you just coming onto the stream, my new digital book can be in your inbox and you can have it to use for the rest of your life. And in 3 minutes, you can go to my TikTok bio and you can get 75% off. You won't pay the normal $97 price, but that offer is only for 30 minutes. So if you went there and that timer started, you will see that once that timer gets to 0, you're going to be directed to the full price $97 page. And $97, if you missed the $24 offer, is still an incredible value. 70-something more dollars to save thousands of dollars. So don't cheat yourself out of thousands of dollars in savings because you missed the offer. But if you didn't miss the offer, get there, get your copy for $24 in my Instagram bio, in my TikTok bio, or if you're on Facebook or YouTube, we have a link in the comment section, deshonsbook.com, for you to get your copy for 75% off. All right, Jay Guns, when financing a car, is there a limit on the down payment? No, there isn't. There's no limit on how much down payment you can make. There's only a limit on the minimum loan that they'll give. So if you have a $50,000 car and then with taxes and everything, you're at 55, you can't put 52 down because they're not going to loan you 3,000. Their minimum loan may be 5,000 or 7,500, meaning you would be capped down payment wise that way. It's not a maximum down payment cap. It's a minimum loan cap. Okay. Go ahead, Dolan. All right. If my truck is worth $7,500 to $9,000 at 135 miles, and I owe 12 grand, what should I do? Because I think I'm starting to have too many problems. My truck is worth 75 to 9. Okay, first thing you need to do is find out what your truck is really worth. That's not a range. We find out what our vehicle is worth through offers. So you need to go to CarMax, Driveway, Carvana, Kelly's Blue Book Instant Cash Offer, Car Guru, Sell My Car, AutoNation, Sell My Car. This is what we call, this is in step 2 of my process. It's the equity assessment. So you need to see if you have positive equity or negative equity. You can't do anything before you find out what your equity position is. Well, you could go and I'm talking to you my way. You can go to a dealership and let them work that out for you, but I'm not talking to you like that. So once you find out what your equity position is, you'll know exactly, you'll know, okay, I owe 13 or I owe 12. My highest offer is 9. Then that means, okay, you have $3,000 in negative equity. Now in my book, I teach there's 3 things you could do with negative equity. That's it. 2 of them lead to a car. 1 of them doesn't. Two of them lead to a car. 1 of them doesn't. And this is why you need to know what's causing your negative equity. Because here's what I call negative equity, guys. The bad credit for people with good credit. Negative equity can lead to you not being able to leave with a car if you have too much. So when you look at negative equity, you need to assess. I'm going to tell you what you can do, but you need to know what's causing the negative equity. And what's causing it is you buy cars, you take out loans on them, and you replace the cars before the loan is paid off. So you should be shopping for great lease deals, not buying cars. So now, 2 ways to deal with negative equity. One is you can pay the difference. Paying the difference means that $3,000, I'm going to pay it off, because when you can pay the difference, everything you're doing continues to be a bid. See, again, in our world here, everyone that you're going to see me share, everyone that's like, yo, you saved me this money, blah, 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 yo, I love this, I'll never buy a car the old way again. We're making people bid. That's how we win. If you can't make people bid, you can't guarantee that you got the most money in that part of the transaction. So when you make people bid, the companies I just named, and you can pay the difference, then that means you got the most money. If you can't pay the difference, then that means you now need to do what we don't do, and that's trade. We don't trade. Because again, out of all these bids, all these people making us offers on our cars, when we go and when you can't pay the difference, now what you're going to do is put your negative equity, put your old car on hold. You're going to shop the traditional way, as far as mixing transactions. That old car has to be in this transaction because you need whoever sells you the car to wrap the old car and the negative equity into the new transaction. And the bad thing about that is you can only now get a maximum of 2 bids. We're still getting bids for the car we're buying. So for example, let's say I'm trying to sell my old Ford Explorer. I have $3,000 of negative equity, and then I'm going to buy a Jeep Grand Cherokee. So now I can't pay the difference. I'm going to go now get offers for my Jeep Grand Cherokee. I'm going to find a dealer who's going to make me the best offer, sell me the car below everyone else. And once whoever wins that bid, now what I'm doing is I'm letting that dealer know, okay, I'm doing business with you. Can you please tell me what my old car is worth to you? And so now once they've won the bid, I'm telling them, please tell me what my old car is worth. They're going to assess the old car, and that car, what they can pay for the car is not going to be the same as what the highest bidder could have paid for the car. So I might end up with $5,000 negative equity. So you can't go to them and say, well, I don't really like this because, CarMax was offering me, $9 for my car. You're only giving me $5. Well, that's just not the way it works. A company can't, and that's the reason we bid and don't trade, because a company can't win the bid to sell you a car and then you think they're going to win the bid on your old car's value too and beat CarMax and Carvana and all these other 6 companies. So that's the bad thing about not being able to pay the difference is you could still get bids to make sure you got a great price on the car you're buying, but you just can't, whatever your car is worth to that dealership is what you can get. And typically that's going to lead to a larger amount of negative equity. And then they need to wrap that into your new deal. And that's it. Now, one thing to consider, because as I said, two things lead to a car, one doesn't. Sometimes you have too much negative equity and the dealer cannot put that much negative equity on top of the car you're buying because the bank has something called loan to value ratios. So a bank might only lend you 20 or 25% above the vehicle's value that you're buying. So if you're buying a $30,000 vehicle, the bank's not going to lend you $40,000 on that vehicle. They're going to say that's too much risk. So if you're trying to do a no money down deal, and this is who this affects, it's mainly for those of you who want to transfer negative equity and do a no money down deal. You're going to be hard pressed if you have too much negative equity because you're trying to buy the car, the taxes, the fees go on top, and then you're trying to slap negative equity on, and the bank is like, wait, they're asking for $40,000 on a $30,000 car. We're not approving that. Doesn't matter. You can have a 900 credit score. That's why I say it's the bad credit for people with good credit. So that's all broken down in my book. That's my summary and overview of it. That's how you get out of negative equity. And again, you need to know what's causing it. And that's the fact that you buy cars and you should be leasing cars because you're a short-term person. You're not keeping cars 8-10 years, but you continue to buy them and take out 5- and 6-year loans. God forbid, 7-year loans. So, all right, negative equity is a big deal. Negative equity and bad credit are like this is when you're really limited. Now, there's strategies in my book for both, but I want you to get out of those situations. Every single time you buy a car, you shouldn't have negative equity, and some of you do. Some of you like, Dag, Deshone, yeah, every time I go buy a car, it's like I always got negative equity all the time. That's because somebody taught you about leasing. You don't understand leasing. You don't understand depreciation. That's not normal. It's just normal for you. And you don't realize how many thousands of dollars you're losing. So hopefully, God willing, you will. All right, go ahead, Dolan. Shoot that next one in, brother. What's up, Courtney Glover? Good to see you. What's going on, Marco Blanco? Good to see you. Mario Soto on YouTube. Deshone, I'm an Uber driver in New York City. I've been with my 2017 Highlander since new. Now there's 215,000 miles on it. I pass it to my wife. Should I do a high mileage lease or finance the next car? Great question. Everyone who's doing cars for business and concerning high mileage driving, this could be Uber, this could be you're renting cars out on Turo, anything where you can't control how much mileage you're going to do. And the better year you have, the more mileage you do, you might say, man, if I could do 60,000 miles a year, then I did good. I had a good year. But there's no way to predict that mileage. You want to stay away from leasing. You want to have predictable mileage with leasing. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you about you, because I've dealt with so many people who would come into the dealership when I was there and they had 200-something thousand miles, 300,000 miles, and they were trying to trade the car in or replace the car. In their case, they were trying to trade it, and they had a long loan on the car, long loan. So what they were doing was they were pushing their losses to the back. Now, I'm going to have a quick business conversation with you because this is about business. But when you are pushing your loan, your losses to the back, you're doing that only to make a little bit extra every month. So so I'm going to take a 6-year loan so I can get my payment down to $450, and then I'm going to make $5,000 a month, and then this is profit right here. But when I get to the end, I'm going to have 10 to 12 grand of negative equity because my car's value is going to be low. My car's value with all that mileage is probably going to be 5 grand, but my loan is still going to be 15 grand or something like that. This happens all the time. You don't want to do that. You want to ask yourself, when do I see myself replacing this car? Now, you might say to myself, okay, based on what I think I'll probably replace this car in 5 years. That's the maximum loan you want to take. You never want to take a loan that could be longer than when you'd replace the car, because no matter that loan, you're always going to have a balance left, because when you come in and you have hundreds of thousands of miles on your car, you're going to be upside down. So you look and say, all right, 5 years, 5-year loan, you drive that car. Yes, you're going to pay $200 more per month out of your profit, but you're writing this off. Second, when you get to the end and you're like, okay, time to replace this car, you have an asset that you can use, sell it, make 5 grand, 7 grand, 8 grand. You don't have negative equity, because what negative equity would do in that case is now carry on to your next transaction, and you get less car than you could have gotten. So if your budget for your next car for your business would have been 30, well, it ain't going to be 30 because you got 10 grand negative equity. So you could only get a car for 20. So don't push your losses to the back. Look and say, how long do I plan on keeping this car? When do I see myself getting ready to replace it? Even if you don't replace it, then you might get to year 5 and say, you know what, I'm going to keep it another year, but it's paid off. Rather than by taking a 6-year loan, getting to year 5 and saying, all right, let me think about replacing this. And no, you're going to have negative equity. That's what I tell all business owners when it comes to Turo, renting cars out. That's how you should be structuring your deal. Stop pushing your losses to the back end. All right. Great question, though. Great question. Go ahead, Dolan, shoot the next one in. Samantha Turner, how are you? I see you liking the videos. Welcome to the new followers. Everybody enjoying this, please subscribe. Please follow us where you're at. Join the community. This is what we do here, and no one else does it like we do it. All right, this one's from TikTok. Lexus is giving me a lease. First of all, Lexus isn't giving you anything. A Lexus dealer is giving you something. Lexus, there's 3 entities, okay? Let's break these down. Lexus Corporate makes the cars. Lexus Corporate makes the cars. Lexus Financial is a bank. And then there are Lexus individually owned dealerships and franchises. Individually. It's important for you to understand the dynamic of these 3 entities and how they're different, so that when you speak, you're able to know in which case who should I be talking to. I don't talk to corporate unless I have a huge problem. Then I need to call corporate. I may not even deal with Lexus Bank. And the people I'm shopping for my deals are Lexus dealers, and they're in competition. See, what's important for you to understand about these individual Lexus dealerships is they are in competition with each other. They're not one. It's not like, oh, it's not like the Apple store. No matter which Apple store I go into, the iPhone is the same price. So I'm just going to go in the one that's closest to me. No, these are individually owned Lexus franchises, and they compete with each other every single month. They go hard and see who can sell the most cars and who's going to be number 1 in the region. Okay? Now let's read the rest of your question. Offering you a lease for RS 300 with a $20,000 discount, but I don't know anything on lease deals. Then you need to be looking at other offers. So first of all, we structure our leases. We shop for our leases with only first month's payment due at signing, 12,000 miles per year. I doubt highly they're giving you a $20,000 discount, but it can be made to look that way. Because if you don't even understand kind of what's going on, it's easy for me to make it look like I'm giving you a $20,000 discount when I'm not. So the only way for you to truly see that is to get multiple offers. You should be getting, you can do it your way. I don't care. Listen, multiple offers, I don't care how you do it. I'd love for you to use the Cars from Home way because it's systemized. Everything else you're going to be wondering and hoping and, kind of fumbling and bumbling. But at the same time, I don't care how you get 5 offers. But I know for a fact, because we have we have 6,000 people right now who have my book. Maybe, actually probably, I got to check the numbers later because I've been saying 6,000 for like the last month. And we're selling, we're selling hundreds and hundreds of books a week, praise the Lord. So we're probably maybe close to 7,000 books, but I have 2,000 people I've coached personally around the country. That's almost 10,000 people. We get data from all around the country. I can tell you wholeheartedly, without getting 5 offers, you are going to overpay because you don't know who you're dealing with. 80% of deals are overpriced. So when you drive down the road, 10 dealerships, you pass 10, 8 of them are overpriced. 2 of them will beat the others, but they don't have a label on them. They don't say, hey, we're the ones who beat everyone else. They'll say that, but they can only say that through proving it with their offers. So what I'm doing if I'm you is I'm getting other offers to see what I'm truly saving and to see who I'm truly making a deal with. And see, this is why I was hesitant to teach about leasing. Because those of you who were taught all of this wrong, who was taught never lease a car? Who was taught never lease a car? Type me. If you were taught never lease a car, type me. Okay, I see you, Courtney Glover. Good to see you. Okay, I see you, Nenato. Okay, who was taught never lease a car? Let's see. Okay, Katina, I see you. Okay. Locks by Lena, I see you. Bean, NJ, I see you. Okay. Cream, all right. Dean, I see you. Okay. So a lot of you. Okay. Rubens, I see. Okay. So you have dozens and dozens of people just on the broadcast now that's been taught never lease a car. Millions of people around the country. You got people like Dave Ramsey who don't understand leasing. They don't understand cars and they just tell you what to do and just, I would. And unfortunately, see, I don't have nothing against Dave Ramsey when it comes to what he does to help other people. I have nothing against Dave Ramsey because he's helped people get out of debt. He's helped people invest in mutual funds, and God bless him. But when it comes to cars, he doesn't know what he's talking about. And it's like me. Credit is a big part of what credit is in the conversation with us, right? Y'all never hear me talking about credit, right? Y'all never hear me talk about credit tips. It wouldn't be hard though. Deshone, hey, I see you teaching credit. Hey, yeah, look, now I got this credit book. I've been working in and around credit since 2006. So it wouldn't be hard, but why don't I do that? Because that's a disrespect to the people who actually know about credit improvement, who put the time in to learn the regulations and what the credit bureaus want, and to trial and error and to know how credit works and how to improve it. That's its own specialty. So even though it's related to what I do, I don't touch that. I let people like Shonda Martin teach all about credit. She's brilliant and she put the time in. She got the years in. And she could sit on a live and answer 20, 30 questions on the fly. When someone steps into a realm who they don't know much about, they potentially lead the people wrong. And that's what happened with Dave Ramsey. His advice about leasing has cost people thousands of dollars, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And I pray one day he come to a revelation and realize it. But I'm hesitant to teach about leasing because if you're somebody who was, I'm gonna give you an example of this brother who I know very well. He's a friend of mine. He's actually my neighbor. And when he came into our system, he said, Deshone, he had a Kia Telluride. Kia Telluride, he was purchasing it, well, financing it. And his wife had an accident in the car. He totaled it. She totaled it, rather. And he said, now that I see your stuff, I see this 8-year rule. I'm not keeping this vehicle 8 years. So, me and my wife said, we're gonna shop for a lease. I said, awesome. He gets the same Kia Telluride, which is a $43,000, $45,000 vehicle. I think the one he got was $43,000. He said, Deshone, my best offer I got, I got this truck for like $479 a month. I said, congratulations, brother. He said, but bro, it's crazy. I was just paying $700-800. He was just paying $700-800 a month. So what do you think he needs any convincing at that point? It's like same exact car is in his driveway. In fact, he got a new one because that one was probably, I don't know, 2 years old or something, whatever it was. And he's saving $300 a month and driving the same car. But what I know about leasing is some of you who don't know how to shop for leases, you'll go in and even if they drop your payment $150, you feel like you won. Because you're like, oh, well, yeah, when I was buying it, I was paying $800. Now I'm at $600. Now I'm at $650. You lost. So without getting bids, you don't know what the best lease deal is on a vehicle. And it could be drastic. So you could do what you want, but that was my only reservation with teaching about leasing, because you're going to go in, you're going to like the new payments way better than financing. You're going to like driving new cars, and you're going to turn around and you're going to overprice without. You're going to pay more. You're going to overpay without any shopping system. So go ahead, Dolan. Sequemer, what's going on? I see you. Art True from Instagram. I never leased before. What are some of the things to ask about? And thank you. Listen, man, I can't teach you the old way. So I'm going to, you're going to go into a dealership and many salesmen. Let me tell you the reason I'm on TikTok. I was making videos on Facebook back in 2020, 2019. All when I was at Mercedes, people knew me. I had the Mr. Mercedes brand, and I was educating people. And I had a friend named Keith. And he said, Deshone, you got to check this guy out. Now, this was an older guy. He was on TikTok, and I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to embarrass him, but he had like 150,000 followers at the time. And he's, giving advice. He's a car salesman, giving advice. So I'm like, man, I like this, man. God bless. Listen, more power to you. Look, I'm not the only one. I'm like, I don't need to be the only one, rather. I'm like, yo, if you out here giving advice, helping people, let's do it. So I'm binging his videos and I'm just going through the videos and I'm like, oh man, yeah, I like this, man. This guy is, yeah. And then he had a question that he answered. And somebody asked, you don't talk much about leasing. Can you tell me about leasing? And his answer was exactly what I'm about to tell you. You don't want to lease cars. They're going to charge you a bunch of fees. They limit you on mileage. It's just not a good experience. Just buy your cars. At the time, I was praying. I said, God, where do you want me at, TikTok or Instagram? Because I was on Facebook. And that was my decision, TikTok or Instagram. Once I saw that video, I was on TikTok the next day. I said, oh no. So salesmen don't understand leasing because salesmen are not trained. If you think salesmen are trained like you hear Deshone talk, no, absolutely not. I had to learn this on my own. By the grace of God, he helped me to learn this stuff so I could teach. You go and start talking to salespeople, asking them about leasing. Most of them have not been trained to even answer these questions. So that's what I can tell you, man. You sit at home and you get your offers, and if you want to get my book, $24. The only people who should be not getting my book are people who don't read. I don't really feel for anybody. Unfortunately, see, I'm a nice guy, but I don't feel for anybody who my heart goes out to. You guys. That's why I sit here, and that's why me and my team make this content. But we're only looking for the people who are the right people. Everyone who I feel for people who don't have access to the real information. My heart goes out to you. That's why I'm here. I don't feel for anyone who sits here and watches the information, and my book is affordable. It's criminally affordable. Like it's $24 if you get the deal. And you don't get it, and then you struggle through a car deal. That doesn't bother me at all. You go and get your head chopped off, overpaid by $5,000 without the information, you never saw me. That's why I tell y'all, tag your friends, because you never saw me before. God bless you, man. Listen, next time, work with me. Let me help you save all this money. But if you see me and then you go in the dealership, shop the old way, and you come out with buyer's remorse, hoping you did all right, man, I ain't got no, that don't bother me one bit, bro. So only people that should not be getting my book in my TikTok bio or my Instagram bio are people who can't read. That's it. If you don't, Deshone, I can't read legitimately. Okay, we got to figure something else out for you. Everybody else, it's laziness. It's laziness. So that's it, man. It's a dangerous game out here, bro. We're talking cars, y'all. We're not talking about little $20 items, little Amazon products. We're talking about depreciating assets that have historically taken thousands of dollars from people that you hear about every day. This person got scammed. This person got scammed. This person got a car that broke down. This person got their car repoed. You hear all of this stuff. Yet you think, oh, well, I'm going to try to do this on my own and wing it. God bless you. I pray for you. Go ahead, Dolan. All right, I use your templates, but they keep insisting on calling me or getting me to come in. We have replies for that. We literally have copy and paste replies for that. So here's the thing, and no one has actually seen this before, but just because we're on here right now, I want to show, no, I don't actually, I'm not going to do this actually, no, because I don't want people like screenshotting my stuff. We have replies for everything. And the reason, okay, so when you're this is the reason why we don't talk. So in my system, we're not talking. I'm not teaching you what to say. Remember to say this. We don't even talk. Everything is a copy and paste thing through email. Everything, this is a truly online system. So when someone says to you, hey, can I get you on the phone? First of all, we always shop with a Google Voice number. We always put that on Do Not Disturb so that people can't call us. Every little part of my system matters. So Google Voice number, we have a specific shopping email. 80% of dealers are going to do what they're supposed to do. Try to get you to come in, try to get you to get off your system. They think you're just like everybody else and you're just winging it and like, all right, come on, give up and I can make it easier if you come in. But those are all templates. They're all common templates. And the reason why I could write the replies to them is because I saw all the templates. I was trained on the templates to get people to come in, to get them on the phone, to get an appointment. None of that matters. Every single thing that you see in the email response, there's a templated reply that you copy and paste back. For example, when can you get on the phone? Can we have a conversation? Well, actually, I'm going to be doing my entire process as mentioned, because in our initial contact template, we tell them we're doing this. But as I mentioned, I'm going to be doing all my process online, and I'll only be talking to the dealer that I'm going to do business with. Do you have something that matches what I'm looking for? Every single one of my replies ends with a question, because when you end with a statement, it could just stop. When it ends with a question, a person says, well, I have to answer that. When you end with a question, a person whose manager, an internet manager says, hey, what's up with this guy, Mario Soto? Oh, yeah, he had emailed me. Well, yeah, I see the email he sent you. He asked, did you have anything that matches what he wanted? When you end with a question, you pass the ball back to them. So I think I've gotten 5 offers through email and 25 dealers. It was just a little annoying with the back and forth. A little annoying compared to what? Compared to what? You're trying to buy something, people are trying to make you pay more. Compared to the old way, compared to you going in, you're sitting at home. The reason why it's annoying is because you're too emotionally involved, which is normal. Don't beat yourself up. The second time you use this system, you'll see, yeah, I was a little too emotional. We're not letting anyone get us emotional. See, me, I've been doing this for so long, I'm not emotional. Now, some of you are on here who are watching this, you're not emotional people. And when I mean that, I mean you don't even let your emotions get involved. Like could be your military, doesn't know. Just everyone has different ways that they show emotion, or they let their emotions, either stay under control or, get out of control. This is a numbers game. When you are getting bids, whether you're doing it my way or whether you're doing it anyway, it's a numbers game. I'm not interested in what any one person says. All I'm interested in, this is my agenda. You're going to follow my way or you've eliminated yourself. And I'm talking to 25 dealers online so that whoever eliminates themselves doesn't matter to me. So what I would say to you is just remove all emotion. Expect them to do that, and then as soon as you see it, copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste, and then get to the outcomes. Okay? You'll see. That's very normal though, the first time people use it. Because you're used to the old way. And you're used to, like, you're sitting in front of the person and you're like, wait, why don't you just do what I want you to do? Because it's a negotiation. It's an online negotiation. Okay, go ahead, Dolan. What's up, Bryce McNabb? Good to see you. Karen, what's going on? Good to see you. Monica W, good to see you. What's going on? This is our 3 p.m. live stream of car shopping questions and answers. Whenever you guys don't see the banner above us, that means we're live, and you can type your questions and Dolan will bring them onto the show. Try to get through as many as possible. Joe Miss from TikTok asks, how do I get out of negative equity? Joe, we already answered that question, and I don't want to do a disservice to the people who are on the show who've been here for the last, hour. What I will tell you is go to YouTube, the Deshone the Auto Advisor YouTube page, and you'll see in the stream you can rewind and you can find this question, or you can go to Facebook, you can rewind and you can find that question. We had we had somebody earlier ask about negative equity, and I went into detail about it. All right. Shabrell Hunter on YouTube. Hey, Deshone, do Teslas fall under your lease guidelines? Loving the book. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you so much, Shabrell. That's a great question. The only thing that is eliminated from our process with Tesla is the bidding for the best price, because that is a vehicle that is a one price vehicle, no matter where you are in the country. You're not going here and getting a better price on a Tesla than you could get on the other side of the country. So as I spoke about earlier, each dealership is independently owned and operated, and they're competing against each other. So that's the reason why we must get bids and get at least 5 offers so that we can get a below market offer by getting all those offers. We can't do that with Tesla. But when it comes to leasing a Tesla, you still need to understand the 1.5% rule and make sure you're not overpaying for the lease. You still need to be getting bids for your loan using the bank bidding war. And if you're getting a used Tesla, then obviously all of that is out the window because it's just a standard car at that point. But when a new Tesla, that's the only part of the system that doesn't apply. No need to get bids for a Tesla. You can't. Okay? Great question. Hey, Dolan. Super G, what's going on? Good to see you. Regina Butler, so glad I found you, Deshone. Thank you, God. God bless you. Because I was literally in mourning because I know that the luxury lease I got in 2021 cost so much more. I'm going to use the next month to hopefully get dealers bidding. Phenomenal. What you're going to see, and I don't want you to fall for this, see, dealers like to keep telling a story that has worked for them. And they had people believing all through the pandemic that they had to pay these prices. And what they were able to do was use the fact people were in the dealership to actually get them to pay these prices because they saw limited inventory. They weren't thinking competition. And they're like, look, you see what we're dealing with. You have to pay this $5,000 over sticker, $7,000 over sticker. And meanwhile, we had people like Bonita. She got her Kia Telluride during the pandemic, and she got it for $600 a month with $600 due at signing. During the pandemic, people were leasing these same vehicles for $800 a month, $900 a month. So when we look at now, who's getting calls from dealers saying, hey, I could get you out of your lease and get you into a new car? Who's getting those calls? Type me in the comments. When you get those calls, understand something. The story that's going to be told to you if you were to go into the dealership is going to be based on your old payment. You're never going to be invited in and they're going to say, hey, good news. Your old payment was $900 a month because the market was so high and limited inventory. And now your new deal is going to be $500 a month, which is what it would have been in a normal market. They're not going to do that. They're going to say, hey, your old lease was $900 a month. Good news. I could get you in the new one, drop you to $800 a month. And they're expecting people who've been paying $900 a month for the last 3 years to say, oh, that's great. All right, I get the new model, man. I guess the prices are still high, huh? Yeah, they're still high, but listen, they're not as high as they used to be. That's what they're expecting. And many, many people are going to fall for that and have fallen for that. So what you're going to see by proper bidding is that When you get these bids, you're going to drop your payment by hundreds of dollars per month. You're going to be the one who leased and overpaid and during the pandemic, and you were paying a high payment. But now you're going to see those same vehicles for $250, $300, $350 a month less, and that's going to be a great thing. Do not let dealers tell the story that hey, prices are still high, but I could drop you a little bit, because that is certainly what they're going to try. No doubt about it. Go ahead, Dolan. Ready Player Ready Player One. What's going on? La Perez, great to see you. Thanks for sharing. Shout out to the sharers. Appreciate everybody who shares the broadcast. Everybody on Instagram who hits that paper airplane on the bottom. You can share this broadcast with your friends, and they'll thank you. Quite honestly, if you have a friend and you're here winning with this information, and you're going to use this information, and your friends are out there getting slaughtered in dealerships and getting manhandled in dealerships, then shoot, you see what I do. As soon as I start the broadcast, I'm sharing with all my friends because I care about them. So Brick City John, what's going on? Deshone, I purchased a 2015 Silverado in 2022 before purchasing your book. Thanks for purchasing the book. Since owning, it's cost over $14,000 in repairs between myself and the warranty. Should I get out now? That's a good indicator that this could be a problem vehicle. So although, you may have had intentions, you said you purchased a 2015 in 2022. Thank God for the warranty, or you'd be out a lot. I remember somebody called me, and he's a celebrity back when I was with Mercedes, and he would ask me about certain cars. And he was like, I'm looking at this car over in California. He wanted this car that was been out of production for years. It's been out of production for years. Old school, old Mercedes McLaren. And it was like a 10-year-old car at the time. Again, they didn't make them anymore. The old McLaren with the wing doors. And he said, I'm looking at this one, could you give me anything on it? Now, in Mercedes, we would run something called the VMI, which is a vehicle master inquiry. And it's essentially like a medical record of the vehicle, anything that happened that doesn't show on the Carfax. So I looked and I saw that before the warranty expired, this person did so much warranty work and had literally tens of thousands of dollars of work done on the vehicle. And I said, look, this vehicle looked like it's a problem vehicle, man. This guy who owned it made sure before the warranty ran out, he went and did a bunch of stuff on it that it needed, so he wouldn't have to pay out of pocket, man. I wouldn't get this one. He got it. I don't think he kept that vehicle more than a couple of years. And so, again, people are going to do what they want to do. But when you have when a car is giving you indications it's a problem vehicle, I'm not a fan of holding. What's the chances it just one day you wake up and the vehicle is turned over a new light and, oh, wow, you gave me so many problems for 2 years and then it was problem free for the next 10. That's probably not going to happen. So if you're going to purchase, then I would sell that car using the equity assessment process. You have my book, sell that car. God willing, you don't have, negative equity or too much negative equity, and I would make a move. So now this is one of the emergency situations where we get out of a vehicle when some of you guys know, if you're not buying a car and if you're not keeping a car for 8 years, you shouldn't be purchasing it. You should be shopping for great lease deals. You're going to pay thousands less. But sometimes there are emergencies that are out of your control, which is one, you need a different vehicle. Maybe you had a, small vehicle, then you had triplets. You wanted to keep the vehicle, but it doesn't take care of the needs for the family anymore. So I gotta replace it. That's understandable. That's not a person that should be leasing. That's a person who just needs to go swap the car and buy it and keep the next car. But in the case of this, what we want to try to do now that you have the book is we take every step, John, to get quality vehicles. And there are things we can do when we're looking at things, especially at pre-owned cars, to get quality vehicles. And, we do our longevity check on Google. That's in step 4. We do our reliability check on Google. This takes 5 minutes. we're typing in, this takes 5 minutes, literally something up that takes 5 minutes to do, checking the data on Google to see if it's a bad car, electric problems, transmission problems. This little step could prevent you from getting a car that's going to be in the shop. But then we're looking at Carfaxes, we're looking at service records, we're looking at, every car we have buying a used car needs to have a ton of regular service records. It shows that the previous owners maintained the car properly. So these are all things that you're gonna have now that you have the book and you have a system. But if I'm you, man, I'm not. And you don't have any negative equity. Great, that's awesome. I'm glad. So now I would look to make a move, and it's up to you. But problem cars are usually problem cars. So wish you the best with that, man. Keep me posted. Okay, so for everybody who wants to know about, look, you don't want to remember all of this. You're like, Deshone, how could I get everything you teach in one spot? That's in my new digital book. It's called Cars from Home. Thank you to everyone who has rated the book. All of you who are saying, I love the book, could you please go add to the ratings on goodreads.com? We're at a 4.95. We have I think we have 37 5-star reviews, and I appreciate everyone who has rated the book. You guys can get your copy in my TikTok bio, in my Instagram bio, and you can get yours for 75% off. It's normally $97, but for 30 minutes, when you go visit that link, you'll see it's a 30-minute countdown. Once it hits 0, price goes back up to $97. So you can get it in my TikTok or my Instagram bio. You can come right back to the broadcast. For those of you on Facebook or YouTube, Dolan has a link in the comment section for you guys. You can go to deshonesbook.com and you can get your copy for 75% off. And for those of you who may be watching us on TV, you can scan this QR code with your phone's camera and you can get your copy for 75% off. So you'll get it for $24 instead of the normal $97. Go ahead, Dolan, shoot the next one in, brother. Dirty Blue Dodge, what's going on with you? Good to see you. Oh, I see y'all running the lights up on TikTok. Thank you. Shout out to everybody who are tapping the screen. If y'all are enjoying what we're doing over here, just tap the screen every couple minutes. Y'all keep running those lights up. We appreciate you. Go ahead, Dolan. You can shoot the next question up, brother. Lease Medina on YouTube. Are there lease options for poor or fair credit score? No. So in my book, I have something called, okay. So if you, and trust me, there's tons of people who are now like, Deshone, I've been overspending. And for those of you who are still not quite, you don't have an understanding yet about leasing, you feel free to ask me about it. But there's tons of people who have been on these streams that already know it is impossible to get a great deal on a car when you purchase it, but you should have leased it. You're overpaying. The money that's going to come out of your household is going to be here compared to here. So if anyone wants me to go deeper on that, feel free to ask the question and we'll go deeper on that. So I'm assuming that most of you on the stream, especially those who've watched some of the previous episodes, you cannot get a great deal. Doesn't matter how much money you got off the car. If you purchased it, but you should have leased, you lost. Now, for those of you who are like, Deshone, I want to lease. I should be leasing. I should have been leasing, but I don't have the credit right now. Now what we're going to do is set ourselves up for the lease. Now, this will take us 2 years, depending on how fast you can get your credit good. But if you need a car now, if you don't need a car now, then you don't need to do anything. You could just work on your credit. Follow somebody like Shonda Martin. She's on all these platforms. Shonda Martin. She teaches about credit and strategies, and she's incredible when it comes to that. But for those of you who are like, Deshone, I really want to lease, but I need a car and my credit's not good now. Now we're going to get what we call a smart car. And it's not the little car that you've heard of. This is something we created. It stands for saving money at the right time. Because the car you get could either set you up for your lease or it could set you back from getting a lease. It's very important to understand. The key to getting your lease is consecutive on-time payments. Consecutive on-time payments is what we need to see so that when you swap out of this car in 2 years, you're going into your lease. What you don't want when you're about to do that is having too much negative equity. So if you don't have good credit, you're already going to pay higher interest. Now, here's what most people are going to do. And I don't want you to be most people, please. Most people are going to go and say, man, I can't lease, so I guess I'm going to go buy me something. I'm going to just have to buy this Honda Accord I want. And they're going to go out and they're going to get a Honda Accord, $20,000 vehicle, $18,000 vehicle, $20-something vehicle, and they're going to pay high interest on it because they don't have good credit. And they're going to, especially if they're not, because someone who is not going to do the smart car strategy, they're not going to listen to me when it comes to the bidding strategy either. So they're just going to go all rogue, pretty much. Sean, I'm doing my own thing. When I'm ready to lease and I get my credit up, then I'll come back and I'll see you. Okay. So they're going to go and they're going to get a car, $20,000 car, high interest. And in 2 years, when they say, all right, man, all right, let me go and see if I get this lease, they're going to have a ton of negative equity. What also could happen is they could miss a payment because a $20,000 car with a high interest rate, now they're paying $600 a month. And they're like, okay, I was late one payment. So they see when you go to switch your lease and you already kind of digging your credit out from the poor standpoint, and now you missed a payment there, that could be concerning when you go and switch your lease. You want to have 2 years of consecutive on-time payments. When we go to smart car route, we're getting a car that's 10 grand, 12 grand, and we're getting that car. We're getting the least expensive car. This is not the time to stunt. See, and the problem is we want to stunt, but we're not ready to stunt yet. The stunt is when you sacrifice for 2 years, got your credit up. Now, 2 years later, you're driving off the lot in a brand new car with a low payment, leasing. That's the power move. But if you want to have your cake and eat it too, then you're not going to be able to do that. So you want to sacrifice first, get your car, get the least expensive, get the smallest car you could get, and get the smallest car that covers your needs. No frills. You'll get all of that in your new car. But the key is this: with a smart car, it must be dependable. Because if the car breaks down, the plan goes to hell. Car breaks down and now you got to put $3 grand into it, plan goes to hell. So the car must be dependable and it also must be affordable. So you want to make those payments, $250 payments, $300 payments on time every month. It's an affordable payment. Max you might be spending is maybe $300, $350 a month. And you're going to make those payments on time. 2 years down the road, you got no negative equity because the car's price is so low. The negative equity, you even though you're paying higher interest, it's a small amount that you're financing, so you shouldn't have much or any negative equity. You might even have some positive equity, and now you go and you swap that car. Because another thing about those cars that are 10 grand, they don't depreciate as much as a car that's 20 grand. So you might turn around and find out 2 years down the road, you could sell that car and make yourself $1,000 or $2,000. And now you go into your lease the right way. So sacrifice now, make a power move later. That's how I will be setting myself up for a lease. But everyone's not willing to drive something that's not their ideal car. And, it's just my recommendations. Of course, everyone on here is an adult. Go ahead, Dolan. What's up, Looney Tunes? Good to see you. What's up, Nikki Palace? Good to see you, Trev. Go ahead, Dolan. You can shoot the next one in. I know he be having a lot of questions that he's trying to organize. Dolan, my man, where you at? All right, there we go. Thank you, my man. Every time we get off the show, he's like, man, so many questions. And he got to pull them from 4 platforms. So appreciate the job you do, Dolan. We couldn't run it without you. All right, T. Delmar. After reading, I'm leasing next is the test drive. All I have to do is schedule with a seasoned salesperson. Won't they pull my credit when I give them my license? I can just test drive, then say thanks? Yeah, absolutely. No one can pull your credit. See, no one can access your credit from your driver's license, so don't worry about that. People need your social security now. Look, and look, some of you have given your social security number out and then you're surprised when people run your credit. No one in a dealership should have your social security number until you have agreed to buy something. All of this stuff, you know, but again, the 80% of dealers do what the 80% of dealers do. Hey, if that's, hey, Mr. Delmar, thanks for coming. I'm glad to have you here. I know you want to test drive, but before we can test drive, we do need to run your credit because, you know, we do need to make sure you're just, you know, you're a qualified buyer. Just want to see if you fall for it, you know, and some people fall for it. But the way we set up test drives, and Delmar here has my book, we set up test drive with the most seasoned sales professional in the dealership. This is the only time we have to deal with a salesperson and we need to talk to them. But we're going in for a test drive and we're there for 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and we're gone. Thank you. I have your card. Listen, I appreciate the test drive. If this is the one I want, I'll certainly reach out to you. See, because I'm for car salespeople, I'm for the best car salespeople, and I'm for the public. I'm trying to put the 80% out of business, but I'm for the best salespeople, and the best salespeople do not deserve to have somebody come in, spend hours and hours and hours and hours with them, hours and hours and hours and days and multiple days, and then they go buy from someone else because they're saving them $500. All of this time you spent. So my system, the salespeople love it. See, the people that win the bid, not only see and we can't do this, but all of these people that you see, from Greg's lease, he got a 1% lease on his Kia, $56,000 vehicle. He's paying $527 a month. Danielle on her Audi, $44,000 vehicle, $550 a month. Kimberly, she got a Maserati, $91,000 vehicle, $944 a month. Bonita with her Telluride. Eddie, even the people who purchased. Look, $2,086 off his Toyota Camry hybrid. That was a hot vehicle too. People were paying $2, $3, $5 grand over sticker to get the Toyota Camry hybrids. He got $2,086 off. Charles on his Palisade, $48,000. So yeah, they love this. But you know who also loves this? The people who sold them those cars. Because the people who won the bids and sold them those cars, they didn't spend more than 20, 30 minutes with them. They didn't have them coming in and spending hours. They were sitting at home. They were sitting at their desk, rather. They saw these people's information. They went and said, okay, let me go to my manager and let's compete. Hey, I got a real customer here. We got everything we need. He gave us everything we need to make him an offer. They made the offer. Maybe they countered back and forth. And they said, my people said, yeah, we got a deal. They were like, great. That took me all of 20 minutes. Meanwhile, they have customers in the dealerships that are spending 2 hours with them that they're hoping buy something. So this is for the 80% too. But the only time we do physically need to talk to a salesman is when we're going in for a test drive. And so that's why we set it up in a way where we're only dealing with the seasoned people. We get there, we test drive, and then we're out of there. Get a card. Thanks. And yeah, you're going to love it. Because now you can test drive Delmar and you can enjoy your test drives. See, if you test drive and then you start talking numbers and then you sit down and now you're negotiating, that sucks. See, we're supposed to be going and shopping. Buying a new car, leasing a new car, we should be shopping. We should be going from dealer to dealer, test driving different models. Oh, I want to drive the Kia. Oh, then I'm going to go drive the Genesis. Oh, now I'm going to go drive the Honda. And I want to see what I want. You know, I want to see what I like. That's what we should be doing when we're about to drop tens of thousands of dollars. But because you hate the process so much, you even scared to test drive. You even like, man, I'm scared to walk in a dealer just for a test drive. Not anymore. So you could enjoy test driving because you're operating with a system in a new way. So enjoy it, man. Glad to hear that. Go ahead, Dolan. Ignacio, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Kendra, how are you? BB from Instagram. Can I ask a question? I need to buy a used car, and I want to know if Memorial Day weekend is a good time for buyers to negotiate. We don't negotiate. We get bids. So you're not gonna negotiate yourself into a good deal. You could think, oh, let me get ready to go up in here. And first of all, the showrooms are packed on Memorial Day. When you're coming in here and you're looking at a used car, 80% of dealers are going to look at you and say, look, miss, you see, or sir, you see the showroom's packed. I really can't go back and forth with you for 5 hours here. So it's really going to be, hey, and then the bells are ringing. Ding, 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 ding. Oh, we got another new car that sold. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they clapping. You got balloons outside and all of this stuff. You're not getting a better deal when this stuff happens. This is all an illusion. And some of you are like, oh man, I thought the end of the month was the time. I thought those was when the best deals were made. I thought that magically every dealer was trying to hit their numbers at the end of the month. Like just every single month, magically every dealer falls short of their numbers. Think about this, right? Because some of you that are extra logical, you're like, oh yeah, this makes sense. So every dealer around the country, just at the end of the month, they're always 8 deals short. Come at the end of the month, everybody. Imagine if you have a business. All those of you who have a business, imagine that your customers being so trained that at the end of the month, every single month they come in. It's great. It's a great thing for business, but it's not great deals. Because you have leverage working against you. When you, just like if you walked into the showroom, if you sat down at the desk, which I would never do, but if you, exactly, Jill said they're expecting us, exactly, and people don't let them down. But if you sat down in the showroom, right, and you were in there for like an hour and a half and you only saw 2 people, you feel pretty in control. You feel like, wait, man, are y'all selling anything in here? You see people desperate. You see salesmen drinking their 3rd cup of coffee, ain't sold a car all day, wondering, man, I got to make my numbers. So that environment would foster the expectation of a better deal. The opposite's true when the place is full. Everybody buying cars, people paying, somebody behind you. Hey, they asking the salesman, hey, Chris, how long you going to be, man? You know, we got people at the door. They walking out, man. We got too many customers in here. So they're coming in trying to get you up out of here. Listen, man, look, the price is $570 a month. I know you wanted to be at $399. The price is $570. You know, where if it wasn't Memorial Day weekend, where they can get their number, then they'd be more likely to make a deal. So this is an illusion. This is an illusion. All these end of the month promotions, end of the year promotions, we're getting deals the 2nd of the month. We're getting deals the 8th of the month. And when you're using what's in my book, you're positioned. What do I mean by that? When all those people are desperate and I've made contact with 25 dealers, see, this is when I want to get a call. And I'm going to tell y'all what happens because, see, a lot of people don't know. You've never heard this before because you're not in the car business. When you go, we would come into the dealership some months and we were behind on our numbers and they call us in first thing in the morning. We got a meeting. Hey, listen, guys, our numbers, we got to hit 275 new cars this month. It's the 10th of the month. We only have 50. We're way behind. Anybody who is in the market right now, call them. We need to get up. We need to make some deals. That don't happen just at the end of the month. Again, dealers are trying to hit their numbers all month, not just the last 3 days. You can't just get to the last week and then you'll look up and you're like, yo, we got 50 cars sold. We got to sell 100 cars in 7 days. No, you're trying all month. So when we have that meeting, first thing all the salespeople are doing is going through all the people they talk to online and in person to see, all right, I couldn't make these deals. when they were here. The dealership didn't want to accept them, but dealership desperate right now. And they reach out to people like me and people that learn from me who position themselves, already made contact, already let the dealers know, hey, this is what I can buy. This is what I want, rather. This is my deadline. I got a month and a half. I got 2 months. I got 3 months. Look, I'm not in a rush. You ready to meet my number? Reach out to me. Hey, how you doing, Mr. Adair? Just want to ask you a question. And we wouldn't be talking to them, so I'm not even going to do that. They'd be typing to you. Mr. Adair, are you still in the market? Did you find a car yet? We're really behind. My manager said we might be able to do that deal you presented. You wanted last month. And that's how deals get done. You want to be positioned. See, you're not going to get great deals doing what everybody else does. You're going to get great deals sitting at home, in control, contacting dealers online the right way, being positioned. Going in and fighting ain't going to happen. And on used cars, you should be sitting at home looking at the whole used car market, looking at the entire used car market. In my book, I have something called the multiple marketplace strategy. You need to be everywhere there's a used car. Cars.com, Carfax.com, CarMax.com, Carvana.com, Auto Trader, Car Gurus, eBay Motors. We look at all the marketplaces. And then what we should be doing is we create accounts. And when we create an account, now we're going to get alerts of new inventory. So when we create an account, if I'm looking for a Honda Accord, I'm going to look at all those marketplaces. I'm going to see where the market values are from $20,000 to $28,000, and now I'm looking for something anything around that $20,000 range, 21. See, because we got to know what the low side of the market is. You can't get a below market deal if you don't know what the market is. So the first thing, a lot of people just start, they open these websites and they just look at, all right, I'm looking for a car. I'm looking for a car. No. First thing to do is look for where's the market prices. What's the low side of the market? That's why we open all these websites, and then we sort them in a certain way so we can see, all right, the low side of the market is 20, the higher prices are 28, so I know where I need to be around those 20, 21. But now those cars are typically accident cars, frame damage cars, salvage title car. That's fine. We need to be in that, focused on that low side. And what's going to happen is we're not always going to find a car with the day we open it. What's going to happen is we're going to get a car that hits the market, pops up. Now we get an email. Oh, I see a new listing, $21,000. And we look at it. Oh, Carfax is good. Service records is good. Boom. We verify that there's no bogus fees. This is how you position yourself. And again, I walked you through this. So you can try to remember all of this. I don't think you're going to. That's why we have a book for you. What's up? Good to see you, Clever Comment. What's going on? My man. Yeah, absolutely. Good. Yeah, man, listen, we had probably 2.5 million followers. I think we had 315,000 on Instagram. I think where he said, man, you blew up. He's one of our first followers, man, on TikTok. Appreciate you, brother. You know, we're 1.5 million TikTok. We 315,000 Instagram. I think we're like 330,000 Facebook, 150,000 YouTube. So yeah, man, God has blessed us tremendously. And you know, man, good to see you though. Always good to see you. All right, go ahead, Dolan. Shoot another one up, man. Sinead Thompson on YouTube. I'm leasing a Lexus. My lease is up at the end of July. I do not plan to lease another vehicle, lease another or buy. I was told I can only return it back to Lexus and not sell the lease and make a profit. Is that true? No, that's not true. You can sell to a Lexus dealership. In my book, I teach you about there's different types of equity assessments. Equity assessment process is the process I created for all of you who want to buy a car, but you have to replace your car first. You need to do what's called an equity assessment. Before you even think about shopping for your next car, you need to make sure you're getting all the money out of your current car. So there's 3 types of equity assessment. There's a standard one, there's a lease equity assessment, and then there's a lease with third-party restriction equity assessment. Standard is for those of you who have a loan or you have a paid-off car. A lease equity assessment is those of you who have a lease and you don't have a third-party restriction. With a company like Chase or Toyota, there's no third-party restrictions currently at the time of this video. So you can sell to any of the online buyers. You can sell to CarMax, Driveway, Carvana. Now, for those of you who have a third-party restriction, you're going to get your offers from the 6 people we get offers from, but then we're going to sell to a local dealership that makes the same brand. So if you have a third-party restriction, doesn't mean you can't sell. It means you must sell to a dealer of the same brand. You can't sell to Carvana. If you have a Nissan, you must sell to a Nissan dealership. But again, they are not all the same. They are all different. They are all competing. So if there's 6 Nissan dealers, those 6 Nissan dealers have 6 different used car managers, and those 6 different used car managers are going to value your car differently, and that's who we get bids from. So we're going to get our equity whether we have a third-party restriction or not. That's not going to stop us. And what we don't do is what a lot of people are doing, which is buying the car and then reselling it. We don't do that because when you buy the car, you're paying taxes, and when you pay your taxes, it's coming out of your profit, and then you pay fees, documentation fee, motor vehicle fees, because you need to title the car, wait for the title to come, and then resell the car. We don't do that. We simply sell to the used car manager. We avoid the taxes, but we must get bids because, again, the car is going to be different to every different used car manager. We get at least 3 bids from 3 different used car managers. Go ahead, Dolan. Scotty from Instagram. How do I go about, wait, okay, let me just, I think you were typing quick. I have a GM military appreciation discount. When do I let the dealer know I have this when getting online bids? Right up front. Great question. Right up front. So in our initial, we don't look to get an offer from dealers online until we have confirmed they have a car. So the 25 to 5 strategy in my book, we connect with 25 dealers to get 5 offers. When we connect, our first goal is to find out who has a car. That's the first goal. We're not going through the hassle of asking for a quote. You don't even have a car. So once we actually, and we have a template, my initial contact template, that's how we reach out, tells them what we want and everything, a couple details. And once we figure out who has a car, now we have a quote request template. And so you fill this stuff in. Once you send it to them, it's going to have the information that they need to give you an offer. Dealers need a good amount of information to give you an offer. Your zip code, can't run tax without it. It's several things. One of them is, are you a member of any, affiliations? Do you have any special pricing? Now, what you're going to see is, if you don't get bids, and I know, Scotty, you're already committed to getting bids, so good for you. You don't know what else is applicable in addition to your GM military appreciation discount. Also, you can't even guarantee you're getting the real military discount. Somebody could say, here's your price with your military discount. How do I know that's the real price? Well, I should look at other offers and see the same. So what you're going to see when you get at least 5 quotes is maybe 2 or 3, maybe 2 gives you the real military discount. And then you're going to see the others, they don't. And maybe 2 give you the real military discount and the rebates. If there's a $3,000 rebate, $1,000 rebate, they might give you the military discount and hide the rebate. Some of them will. Some of the 80% will. So the key is you must get bids because you need to reveal who's going to give you the real military discount. And you also need to reveal if there are any rebates and incentives on the vehicle that you should get on top of your military discount. Very important. So yes, we will let them know that as soon as you verify who has a car, you will let them know in your offer request that you have a GM military discount. All right, great job. All right, listen. All right, let's go. We'll do Nikki Pelez. TikTok. What's the lowest credit score you can expect to get a decent lease? I'm on the low end of good. In my book, I linked to something called Leasing and Credit. it's about profile. I explain it's about profile more than just score. Now, profile, there's a lot of factors that go into your lease profile. Your score is probably the biggest one, but it's also comparable credit. Do you have a car? So you could be a 650, but your cars have been paid on time. See, I always say nothing gets you approved for a car like a paid car. It's because when banks look and see, listen, yeah, you might have a little high usage on your credit card. You might have a little higher utilization, but I see you don't miss a car payment. That matters to a lot of banks. So that's part of your profile. Now, you could also have a 700 score, but as somebody mentioned earlier in the stream, you have a light profile. So you could get a 700 score with one credit card. One credit card, you manage it right, you could get a 700 score. So that doesn't necessarily mean you will qualify for the best lease deals, or all lease deals rather. So, but with a 700 score, you qualify for a lot of lease deals, even if you're light, so it's really about what's on your credit. If you're on the low end of good, do you have a do you have a car payment you've been making on time for a couple years? Do you have solid income, solid job? That comes into your profile too. If you have, somebody who's on the low end of the credit of good, but you have good job, you've been there for years, solid income, that's different than the person who's on the low end of good, self-employed, new company, don't really have the tax returns done yet. These all matter in your profile. So so I would tell you that's what you assess. If you have a couple of those things, I would go for the lease, because quite honestly, Nikki, all that could happen is you don't get approved for the lease. But if you're on the low end of good, and really fair is, I think, the low end of good is still high sixes. So 670, 680, you typically I've seen tons of people with 670, 680s get approved for mini leases. So I try to tell people kind of stay out of that mid sixes range, because that's a manipulation zone. 650, you could usually manipulate people, and maybe you don't get approved tier 1, so you get approved like tier 4, and then it raises your lease payment. So I would try to get yourself up to like a 670, and you should be good. But I would always go for the lease. If I'm in that 660, 670 range, I'm going for the lease until I get turned down, or because, depending on what car too, that matters. You're going for you're 670, you're going for a Mercedes-Benz, might be a little different than 670 and you're going for a Honda Accord, So, all right, y'all, listen, this has been our 3 p.m. stream. We definitely do this. We appreciate all of, we do this to get through as many questions as possible. We always have more questions than we can get through. For those of you who want everything I teach in one spot, you're like, Deshone, I know you make these videos, I know you do these streams, but where can I get the blueprint? I just want the blueprint, the step-by-step. That's my new digital book. It's called Car Shopping for People That, oh, no, I renamed it. It was Car Shopping for People That. It's now called Cars from Home. So Cars from Home, 7 steps to saving time, money, and avoiding dealerships. So it's written in a step-by-step way for people that lease, for people that don't know about leasing and they want to get educated, and for people who buy new cars, used cars, high mileage drivers. Should I be leasing? Should I be buying? If I'm a high mileage driver, that's all in there in a step-by-step format, and it's an action guide. So you can get your copy for 75% off. It's normally $97, but in my TikTok bio, in my Instagram bio, there's a link. You just click the picture of me at the top. It'll take you to my bio. You'll see a website, and then you click the button that says get my new book 75% off. As long as you get there before the timer hits 0, you got yours for $24 instead of the normal $97. For those of you watching us on Facebook or YouTube, we have your link in the comments. It's deshonesbook.com. You can see it on the screen right here. Or if you're watching us on TV, you can use your phone to scan that QR code, your mobile phone camera, to get yours for 75% off. All right, so continue to win. We'll be back 3 p.m. tomorrow, and we look forward. Now, in fact, actually, we may not be tomorrow. I'll see, or we may do a short show. My daughter's promised tomorrow, so I'm going to see. We might be on for a couple minutes tomorrow, but either way, I will see you on the next stream, and we'll be rebroadcasting the stream all throughout the day. Share it, rewatch it, invite a friend to it, because, you know, we don't need our friends losing. We don't need you losing. So God bless y'all. Always a pleasure. See y'all on the next one.